came, he showed up. He looked great. He got to nail his poses. That's the biggest thing is Jeremy has to nail his poses. And I think that it's crazy to say he's missing some pop at prejudging, but he was. He looked a lot better in the final.
My phone's about to die, so I'm going to leave. But before I leave, I know Jeremy has a very hard prep. So to nail what he did in the show and come in as peeled as he did, I think that's an achievement in itself. I know he was eating 1,200 calories and doing an hour of cardio. So it was a hard prep for him. So he's happy with what he brought, and he got shredded and peeled.
He said 1,200 calories?
Yep. And doing 60 minutes of cardio. It was almost next to impossible to do a show. So I have respect for him for doing that.
Wow.
And I think it's just at this point that his physique is kind of maxed out from his physique.
I'm going to be real. Charjo's my guy, but I was rooting for Jeremy, because obviously Charjo, he qualified, and I wanted to see Jeremy at the Olympia, which, hopefully I still can't see him at the Olympia. But when I saw him, I was like, that's not the Jeremy I wanted to see, because I wanted to see lights out Jeremy, And I think Ryan and Ben, and even Boone agree with me that we wanted a lights out. That's the Jeremy we all know. And not only that, we all love Jeremy as a person because he shows up on our lives, and he's just an overall good guy. But to see him far, I'm going to be real. He's far from his best. Which
I agree with you. I drove 6 hours to Chicago to see it. Like I said, look, I drove 6 hours to Chicago to see it. I was excited to see Jeremy, the return. I'm a fan of this sport. I wanted to see it myself. And that wasn't his best. We definitely seen him better. He was a bit flat, just didn't have the right pop. He wasn't holding his poses like he does.
What I noticed the most, look, you know me, I've had the privilege of coaching Jeremy for three of his top 5 Olympias. And I look here, and what was missing to me is his back didn't have the same pop that it usually does. It was more of that lower lat. I don't know if he's missing some tissue. I don't know if it's, to me, it looks like not even necessarily a diet issue. I think it looks like he just didn't have the same training camp that he would normally have going in. It's just something was slightly off. I agree. Jeremy has a freaky physique. He's great. He's one of the best in the world. He always will be. But it just is that 1 or 2%. Because Jeremy has a freaky physique, he has to come next level, on his conditioning to win shows. And I think it was just a couple percent off,
And listen, not to be too critical, right? Because make no mistake, Jeremy's physique at this show was still fucking great, right? He still brought a great package, but the standard that we're used to seeing from him, right, is high.
Yeah. And that's what we're comparing him to.
And so now when you talk about the difference between Jeremy and Nick, go ahead and zoom out a little bit so we can see both of them. Nick's back had more pop and more density to it, in my opinion, and that mid back and lower back was the difference between the two. Nick's separation in his lower back and the thickness is what got it for him. They're very, very similar in structure and stature, man. It's really similar. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick, I knew Nick and him were going to be very comparable from the front, but after seeing Nick actually, in person, win that show in Texas, Nick's back. I came back from that saying his back looked insane, right? And I knew that if he was going to win this show, that's where it was
the real deal.
I just think Charjo's front was better.
I agree.
Nick's back was better, but I think overall that back was so dominant. He got the W.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Nick was good. Listen, Nick was hard. He's full through the chest, super full through the chest, right? And his abs and obliques were sharp and hard. He doesn't have the same abdominal structure and lines as someone like Charjo, but he still is conditioned, and you can see that.
Nick's always had a hard time with this midsection looking hard on stage. I think his body fat was low, like you said. His obliques are sharp. but he just doesn't have the development and the abs like Charjo does.
But I mean, if Nick is winning and he's beating a Charjo and Jeremy, that's something that the judges like, and he pops to him, and I'm actually happy for him, you know.
It's back, absolutely.
This where you got a place in Olympia? What's right?
Hey, Myron, breathe for a second. Just stop for a second and tell us your thoughts, man. We're gonna listen to you.
Speaking of one of the best backs in the world, here's Myron.
My thoughts on who?
What'd you think about Nick?
I love Nick's lip, man. His back is ridiculous. I remember seeing him for the first time in Arizona when he got on my radar when he beat. Back is crazy. He's been making crazy improvements. So just interested to see him stand next to Chiron, and now with my improvements, I want to see him stand next to me, back to back. But Chiron, Banks, Brandon, stand next to him. But his is amazing, man. It's his back, really.
Hey, Suggs let you lean on the he lets you lean on the stir stepper?
It works, okay?
Yo, man, so overall, I thought it was a very, very competitive lineup, man. That first call-out was tough. I think that's one of the best